Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined over distance by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
I miss
excellent.
you.
I miss you too. How are
Over
things
distance.
in the snowy north?
In the snowy north, it snowed today in
Yeah.
Maryland. It was it did not stick, but it snowed for like half an hour. It was dramatic for me as a near Floridian.
Indeed.
But it was nice. Makes the seasonier.
Well, on that note, the cocktail of the week this week is called the Snowbird.
I like it.
Yeah, there are actually a whole bunch of cocktails called the Snowbird, but this seems to be the definitive one. It is described in Imbibe magazine, which is a magazine I actually get in print, and it's a cocktail magazine. It's great. Um, and most of the cocktails that we get the recipes off their website. And if you're looking for a cocktail and there's like a whole bunch of recipes, like use the one from Imbibe magazine. So the Snowbird is like a painkiller, but with mezcal. So it's a shot of mezcal, a shot of pineapple juice, an ounce of coconut cream, half an ounce of orange juice. We love a
Ooh, a
painkiller in
white
this
creamy
house.
drink.
Yep.
Yeah, they are
Yep.
good. Some of us like nutmeg on top, but some of us don't like nutmeg on top.
Like I like nutmeg fine, like in cookies and stuff, but I just find it like very overpowering when it's grated on a cocktail. Like the whole thing just tastes like nutmeg, nutmeg. And I'm like, but I would like to taste coconut and pineapple.
Mm. I
So
think that's the point. Nutmeg's expensive. Might as well get your money's worth.
I guess it's just a
Flavor
little
it.
nut.
They're expensive. They're only grown in, I think, Grenada or something.
Oh, well. Anyway, you can have mine, as Jen Coleslaw
It
would
was
say.
big in the 1700s. Yep.
I kind of want to make myself one of these tonight. So
there you go.
I guess
This
I could
is
wait
good.
till you come home. And
This is called the what bird?
Snowbird.
Snowbird.
As in our friends who live up in the north during the summer and then come on down here to Florida when it
Yes,
starts to get
I
cold.
like a drink called the Jungle Bird, but I can never remember the name, so I always say Dirty Bird, which is totally inappropriate somehow. But no, maybe I'll try saying Snowbird if I don't remember it.
The Jungle Bird is a classic cocktail. It has been the cocktail of the week before. It is blackstrap rum, Campari, pineapple juice, lime
Oh, it's
juice, and
good.
demerara syrup.
It's so good. It's got such an interesting, like, citrusy, sweet caramel mix. It's real good. I like them.
There is a cocktail called the Dirty Bird, which is just kind of like a White Russian. It's like
Well,
vodka, coffee, liqueur, and half and half.
for some reason, it's got a very viral name in my head.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it's a good drink. The Jungle Bird.
Jungle
Bird.
Here in Key West,
I'll write it on my hand.
there's we frequent a bar called the Tiki House. They make great tiki drinks and they make them by the keg and then they just pour them out by the tap, which is like amazing. They're so good.
It should be bad, but it is so good out of this keg.
They're like freshly made. They're clearly freshly made. Fresh juices
they make
and everything.
A keg full.
And then you get it on tap. So it's a little fizzy. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
It's sometimes where it's like we're sitting around the house and you're like, you want to go to Key West like 8:00? You want to go into Key West and just like get some cocktails? Like,
I know. Just have like a drink or two and then call it an evening.
Yeah,
Come back.
It's great.
Yep.
And your dad always gets the Jungle Bird there.
At least.
At least.
I've branched out before. There's something else with good names.
Yeah.
There's also
Which you also get wrong sometimes.
I get all of them wrong. I'm ban. I think sometimes my wrong names are entertaining or interesting.
They are. Yep.
But they're wrong.
Yep. It's time for Administrative Corner. We have two.
I love Administrative Corner.
What are you drinking, dear dad?
Champagne that I bought today in the grocery store is maybe as an option. It's okay.
Well.
It's okay. I mean, it's a California sparkling wine, of course.
Yeah.
It's only champagne if it's from the Champagne region of France. Okay, go ahead.
We have two fish scandals. Ooh, I know.
Fish scandals.
One is a light scandal.
Classic Administrative Corner.
This was sent to us. I know. Sent to us by friend of the squad, Indigo Escargot. Great username. And this is more of like a taste of the Keys story, but it's in Connecticut. And it involves fish, so we're putting it in here.
This is
The,
a total win.
this is from
This
the
sounds
Connecticut Post.
the
Connecticut
best.
Connecticut fishermen find after canine sniffs out hidden illegal bass. Now, the canine in question is a golden retriever.
Oh,
And here, I will send you this picture, and then I'll put the link to this in the podcast notes if other people want to see this dog. But the dog
well,
sniff
yes.
Connecticut fishermen find after canine sniffs out hidden illegal bass. So uh, this guy, let's see, on Tuesday, 6 anglers were allegedly seen fishing the Housatonic River by 2 Connecticut State Environmental Conservation officers, accompanied by canine Luna. As officers watched, one angler climbed the riverbank, stepped over the guardrail, ran across the road, and entered a wooded hillside. The angler was seen carrying something heavy as he left the river and crossed the road, entering the woods, but returned empty handed. The officer spoke with the fishermen and determined that the two had no legally required fishing license. They claimed to have caught and retained no striped bass, the release said. The officers, with the help of Canine Luna, searched the wooded hillside and located 4 bags of striped bass across a 75-foot stretch of woods, each buried and covered with leaves. In
Wait, they
total,
buried each of them individually?
the bags. There were
Oh, the
4
bags.
bags. So
Okay.
there
Yeah, 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 yeah.
In total, Luna and the officers recovered 34 striped bass between 12 and 25 inches in length, in violation of the striped bass slot limit, which is 28 inches to 31 inches. So they were too small bass
Whoa, and too many. I bet
and
there
too
were too
many.
many. You knew there were too many.
Connecticut
The
striped bass regulations changed in May 2023 to limit bass catches to a total of 6 fish, all between 28 and 31 inches. So it was too many and too
not even
small.
close. Not
Yeah.
even close to enough.
If
And
you,
plus, they knew they were breaking the law because
mm-hmm,
they buried these things.
yeah.
You don't bury the legal fish, you proudly display them.
The
You put them
anglers
on your hinge profile.
were issued 64 striped bass violations and 2 license
Yes.
violations and $4,974 in fine. The fish were seized and donated to a nonprofit wildlife rehabilitation center, presumably to be food for said wildlife.
I was going to say for birds, maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
Bears?
So there you go. That's more of like a taste of the Keys, like too small fish, too many lobsters.
The picture you sent me is great. It's got Luna, and then it. It's her in front of the police truck, and it's got all the fish laid out in front of her in 3 rows.
Like drugs.
30 fish, like drugs,
Stacks of
and
hundreds.
I think she's interested in having one of the fish, but they won't let her.
I like that little added narrative you put in there.
I think she's got it in her head. Look at her
Uh,
face.
she looks like she likes it. I will link the story for everybody. Now, the second story has come up on my Google News alert because I am a fan of the fish scandal, and so this one actually triggered the
You're
fish
a
scandal Google News alert.
somewhat of an expert of fish scandal.
I feel like I could be on the fish scandal beat, you know?
You could
Except
do a reality show about fish
it
scandals.
would have to be recap though, because I'm not actually going to go to bass tournaments and whatever walleye
Oh,
tournaments
sure. It'd
and
be like that show that recreates airline accidents or something.
yeah.
Could be
Okay.
part real. It could they have an actress playing you who looks nothing like you.
Oh, I like it. We could just take the audio from like some of the fish scandals and
Yeah, she could have like dark hair and
reenact it.
be, 7 years old or whatever.
Okay, well, here's this one. Fishing YouTuber arrested for fraud in Texas tournament. Now facing a misdemeanor charge for allegedly falsifying a contest form, the angler called the incident, quote, a massive misunderstanding.
Uh huh.
All right, I want you to picture this
Misunderstanding.
guy. He's
Did
got
it say
a,
fishing YouTuber?
yeah,
Uh huh.
okay. This is a dude, I would put him in his 30s or 40s. He's got a camo trucker hat with some kind of logo on the front that's like a fish.
Okay.
His hair is maybe 4 inches past his shoulders. He's
In
got,
length, yes.
yeah, in length, solid weeks growth of facial hair, but
Mm-hmm.
not a beard. And then he's got these sunglasses that are veering towards ski goggles. And they've got like a rainbowy mirror effect on the front.
This is his what social media picture. I mean, it can't be his mugshot. That's
The
his
photo is which I'm about
suspect.
to send you, is credit to the Texas Department of Fish and Wildlife. So
Maybe it's the picture on his license, on his fishing
his
license.
fishing license.
Fishing.
Sorry, fishing license.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh, Texas Parks and Wildlife own this picture of him for
Okay.
some reason.
Well,
Uh, Hang on a second. It doesn't want me to send you this photo.
I think it's probably blocked for content.
It's like, no, you can't text
No,
and go fish photos. Okay. And he's
no.
holding a big old fish next to the screen.
He is he? Oh
Okay.
my god.
Now, to the story.
Oh, this is from his Hinge profile. It's gotta be.
A Texas angler is landed in hot water after state officials accused him of illegally submitting a fish for prize money. Ben Milliken, a fishing influencer with over 500,000 YouTube followers, turned himself into authorities last week after
Turned
a
himself in.
yeah,
Okay.
Nakad hmm, Nakagdatches. All right, Texans
Nakodachis.
is
Nakodachis, yeah.
NACOGDOCHE is
I'm not
Nacogdoches
volunteering
County.
anymore.
Texans, tell me how the heck you say that. Nacogdoches County
That sounds
issued a.
pretty good. I think you're doing a good job.
Oh my God. This is like just a
Stay strong.
hilarious test. If I were actually a podcast professional, I would have looked up that pronunciation ahead of time. But we just get to see me not be able to pronounce typically Native American words.
The process is part of the fun.
Nacogdoches County issued a warrant for his arrest. Milliken had submitted a large bass to the state's Toyota Share Lunker program, which awards $10,000 in prizes for contest winning anglers. However, a review process from Texas Parks and Wildlife determined that Milliken didn't have a valid fishing license when he caught the
Oh,
13.15-pound bass at Lake Nakanichi in February. As a result, he knowingly falsified the contest/tournament entry form.
wow.
In
This picture
addition,
is from the Cheryl Lunker entry. It's got a Cheryl Lunker
I saw that
label
up
on it.
at the top, I think.
Yeah.
In addition to the charge for fraud in a fishing tournament, Milliken was disqualified from the Toyota Share Lunker program and cited for fishing without a valid license. Milliken, a 35-year-old Nebraska native now living in Texas, was quickly released after surrendering to authorities, he said. In statements posted to social media, Milliken called the incident a massive misunderstanding. Quote, in fact, the incident arose while I was recreationally fishing and not in a tournament at all, Milliken wrote in a Facebook post. I very much look forward to creating a video to explain this entire situation, but
We look forward to you making some shit up to put in a video too.
due to ongoing investigation, it's best I wait.
I think you got to have a valid fishing license. He's trying to come up with some story that makes sense that lets him off the hook,
Here's
so to speak,
section
such as
2
it
of the
is.
story, subtitled A Fishy Submission.
Fishy.
Anglers looking to qualify for the Legacy Class Share Lunkers program must catch a bass weighing more than 13 pounds. That's a big ass fish. The fish must
Mm.
also be caught during the spawning period of January through March. Fishermen can then give the bass to Texas Parks and Wildlife for use in the state's breeding programs.
It's got to be alive.
Those anglers are then eligible to receive numerous prizes, including a catch kit filled with merchandise, free taxidermy for the fish, and other benefits. That fish is not going to breed at all if you taxidermy it. I just drop a little
I
science
don't
in there.
know. There's some guys who would do well when they're taxidermied, so I think it's okay.
The winning
I think it's
anglers
okay.
are also entered into 2 lotteries for a $5,000 Bass Pro Shops shopping spree. In
Mm.
a February news release, state officials praised Milliken and 2 other anglers for reeling in legacy class share lunkers. At the time, Milliken had just toured the share lunker facility at the Texas Freshwater Fisheries Center. He praised the Texas program for improving fish populations throughout the state. Quote, I got to see the share lunker we caught at OH Ivy 3 years ago, Milliken said in a release. They keep the fish in the area and have bred a ton of other fish with it. It's awesome and great that Texas puts a lot of value in stocking the best genetics throughout the state. Well, I mean, that's pretty good, actually.
I was gonna say he doesn't sound like a complete, anti-asocial person. You're just fishing without a license, dude. Sorry.
He's a fishing influencer.
You should have a fishing
You should
license.
have a like the number one thing you should have is a fishing license. If
It's
you're
probably the
fish
number one, two, and
fish
three.
fluencer.
You should have a Texas one and a Nebraska one and a wherever you want to be. They're
Fish
not impossible to get, I hear.
fish fluencer.
Fish fluencer.
All right, well there you go.
Influ fisher.
uh,
And
yeah.
fishfluencer.
I just I teach a class on called becoming a social media influencer. And it's a lot of freshmen. Anybody can take it. Um, and so I just submitted my grade.
Anyone at Maryland, or is this an
I mean anyone at
open
Maryland,
X?
but like I teach it in summer term, and then like literally anybody can sign up. Like you have to pay tuition, but it's open to anybody.
People should just take note if you want to be an influencer and want to be taught by one of the best professors in the nation.
Oh,
Uh, should take this course with Jen over the summer.
it's a fun class. I've had a number of students build really big accounts where they're like influencers and they get free stuff and they make money from it.
Was it this
Um,
guy? Was it this guy?
no, I was just thinking like I have a lot of, there's obviously like plenty of student athletes take it because they're allowed to, profit from their likenesses now. Um, they do okay, mixed. But they don't I got to do better with them. A lot of like wannabe stock influencers, which is like cute, and I never tell them no, but I do make them do an assignment, and I'm like, why, my 19-year-old friend, is the internet going to listen to your investment advice?
Also, isn't I think it's fraught. I think if you're giving advice, you might not want to buy yourself. There's some kind of pump and dump issue. I
Oh,
don't know.
oh, the lawyer has entered the chat.
I'm just saying. I don't think they're probably going to own enough stock to really make it a difference. But I don't know that's completely open field there. But I mean, sure they're not in the crosshairs unless they're billionaires. In which case,
No, none of
sure.
them are. Can confirm.
Well,
Then a bunch of like wannabe like food influencers and lifestyle influencers of various quality, and like surprisingly a lot of like golf wannabe golf influencers. Who
like
knows?
tips on golf kind of stuff, or like watch me swing,
Yeah,
or
like watch me swing kind of stuff. I mean, they all have
oh,
different flavors, right? Some is like, here's videos of us playing golf, and some's like tips, and some is like glamour shots of golf clubs and stuff.
okay. I mean,
Anyway,
it's not the weirdest, but you haven't had a fish fluencer.
no fish influencers, no hunting influencers. Some religious ones, I mean, I let them do whatever they want. Um,
Sure.
yeah. Anyway,
I mean, it's an open field. It's good.
do whatever you want.
Get some good
Oh,
people
look,
out
your
there.
face is on my podcast screen now.
I did that.
Okay, good job.
I know. I'm good
Okay,
at
it's time
this
for dog
social media
updates.
stuff. Okay.
Dog updates. Um,
Yes.
you are having a break from the dogs right now.
I'm having a dog breakdown.
Just a
I'm
dog
just in Maryland
vacation.
with no dogs. This is correct. Yes.
Getting some sleep. It's funny because like poor Ingo, like I travel all the time, and Ingo is here with the dogs, and they get him up several times a night, and then also at like 6:30 in the morning. And I'm like, hi, I'm gonna be gone for a week. Enjoy. Thanks for taking care of the dogs. And now Ingo's like, I was like, I got to go to Maryland for this work thing. And he's like, I was also thinking about going to Maryland for a few days. And it took me a little bit to figure out like you needed to sleep through the night and just have like a little break from all the dogs. And so now I'm here in Florida with all the dogs. And like we went to bed at like 1:30, my normal bedtime last night, and we slept until like 7:45 this morning. They didn't wake me up. They're like, "Oh, when Jen's here, we just sleep at night."
Yeah. I don't think poor Ingo. And it's just I have a different thing with them, and I maybe lighter sleep, but also like Ella jumps on me at 2 in the morning and like scratches at my chest.
I think she
It's a
just
little
wants a
harder to
hug.
ignore.
She's like had
Maybe
a
she just
nightmare
wants a
and it's
hug. I
like, "Could I
haven't
have a
figured out
hug? I
because I'll
have
take her
bad dreams."
outside and then she'll like lay out on the porch and be like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, "Come on, we gotta go outside." You wanted to go outside. She's like, "I don't remember that at all."
In Ella kind of news, I think we're pretty okay with the housebreaking. Like we're not 100%, but it's been a while since there's been an accident. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So we have two new rugs. We've had all these like little runners everywhere for I feel like months.
They're
Um,
very slippery.
and they don't stick on the floor very well. But Brody can't walk on the tile. So anyway, tomorrow the runners are going, and we have a new rug for the bedroom and a new rug for under the dining room table because those just smelled like pee and were terrible. So we're finally going to get back to rugs, like
Oof.
proper rugs that don't
Oh,
slide
this
all
is a
over the
big
place.
opportunity for Ella to take it out on the rugs, man.
I know. They can handle a few accidents with the spot bot. They just can't handle the constant assault that they were dealing with.
They were the other rugs were overwhelmed. It's true. They
Yeah.
were yeah, they were overwhelmed. There's a rug here that Ella no Zola has eaten holes into.
It's a nice rug
Still.
too. It's like a Pottery Barn rug that I've had for a long
I
time, and she just
know.
gnawed straight
Ah,
down through it like she was burrowing into the floor.
she was basically eating her way into the center of the earth through
Yeah.
that rug, and it was such
Sad.
a nice, fluffy,
I know.
thick rug
Makes me
with
sad.
like so
We normally buy like cheap Amazon rugs because they don't last long here.
cheap rugs for expensive
Yeah,
dogs.
that's right. But anyway, I'm excited to be returning to leaving housebreaking mostly behind and returning to life with rugs.
That's I think that's a good thing. Yes, we also get to
Yeah.
stop Ella from eating the rest of the house.
I, I might also depends on how motivated I am tomorrow. Like all of our furniture, like the part that touches the floor has the corners gnawed.
The edges are all rounded and there's splinters everywhere.
Yeah, so I'm if I have time tomorrow, I'm gonna sand them all down and like put in the wood filler and prep them. I don't think I'll do the painting tomorrow, but get all that prepped for repair and
The
some walls and some
door
molding
frames.
door frames. Uh, she is still chewing that a little bit. I mean, that door frame she did a number on a couple weeks ago, but
Oh, I
I'm
was
gonna
on
make
some
an
conference
attempt.
call and I got off the conference call and was like, "Why are there wood chips on the ground? This is crazy." And she's had like was chewing on a piece of wood in her
It
mouth.
was like
She's just
18 inches from the ground up, just like she corn cobbed it.
yeah, just I mean, we have so many toys. We have so many toys.
She doesn't know what to
I've
do about me
I've
because
tried.
she like comes in the kitchen and I had like left a pill pocket on the counter and she's like, oh, I gotta get that thing. And I'm standing in the kitchen and I watch her and she starts like the little ups and I'm like, no. And she's like, oh my God.
She
Like,
was right there.
yeah.
I forgot you were right behind me.
Like that lady
Oh,
knows what I'm doing all the time.
the lady is watching me.
Yeah.
She also doesn't leave the door open like the guy. The gate to the kitchen is never open anymore. The guy always forgot.
Yeah.
Anyway, Guac's very pleased that you're there. Frankly, everyone's pleased that you're there. I don't think they're suffering at all. They love you.
They are all very happy and very mellow, I gotta say.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, apparently I'm the catalyst for,
You I
for
guess we have
bad behavior,
different
miscreant
energies.
catalyst. Yeah, my energy is like to mess with your energy is to mess with stuff too. Sometimes naturally, like you like to push the red button if it says don't push the red button.
I wonder what's this red button do?
you, I don't know. You just are influencing them differently to be better, just like you do with me. Oh,
Oh. Do you have any dog updates?
do I have dog updates?
Because you were here for a couple days when I was like, I went to Maryland and then you met me in Maryland. We had dinner together
Hmm.
and then I came back.
Yeah, we're having a slight reconfiguration of Remy's
Yeah.
insulin. He may be a little low on insulin, high on blood pressure, high on blood sugar.
Yeah. His blood sugar and like in his regular blood sugar and his fructosamine, which is like long term, and his glucose in his urine were all high. So we had a nice run of a few years where like the 11 and a half units was exactly right. It took so
Yeah,
long to get that stable, but now it's not enough. And he's having like his back legs aren't working quite as well and he's older, but I think it's nerve related and that can come from like diabetic neuropathy. I also think he's not seeing as well as he was, which could be his cataracts getting a little worse because the blood sugar is higher. So anyway, we have upped him from 11 and a half to 12. He seems to be fine after a day and a half of it.
Good.
So,
Hopefully he keeps bouncing around and kind of wanting to play with
oh my
everyone.
God, just like yelling.
Well, no, he
That's what he does. Like
he
the other
does
dogs are playing and he just starts
both. Sometimes
yelling.
he's on the beach and he plays with people. I mean, but then a lot of times he just walks around barking at everyone who's having
He
fun.
knows where I'm like, Remy, no. And he's like, woof, woof, woof. And I'm like, Remy, no. And he's like, woof, woof, woof. And then I get up and he's like, he immediately starts going to one of the places he knows I'm going to put him. Like I put him out on the porch, or I put him in the kitchen, or I put him in the bathroom just so he can like disengage and get less wound up.
Yeah,
As soon as I stand up, he's like, oh, okay, I'm going. Like he doesn't stop barking,
I
but
know.
he's like,
He's
I'll go to the porch.
when I take him out in the mornings, he is taken to just lying down on the beach and resting because the little ones all go back upstairs and he's just lying on the beach like, this is okay. Nice
It's
cold sand.
You know what? It's going to be really nice when we get the fence put in. Have we talked about the fence
Yeah,
on the podcast? We're
I
putting a
don't know that we've explained it,
we're putting a
but
fence across to so the dogs can come down the front stairs and not get to the water. So it'll kind of go across like the under part of the house where the cars are parked, and it'll go across the side yard. And so then we can let them out, and they will not just escape like they do sometimes.
right, that's the problem. We I mean, we'll let them in the water um,
On
whenever
our
we're out with
terms,
them. Yeah, but right now it's if I'm looking at guac in the front yard, Remy sneaks off into the water and is like, "Ooh, neighbor! What are the neighbors doing? I
yeah,
wonder." And it's like swims over.
bad, bad
So that's
dogs.
scary stuff. So we don't want the dogs doing that.
And the
And
magic dogs have done that. Ella and
Ella has
Zola.
expressed a lot of interest in the steak neighbor's side, even though steak neighbor's not there.
The two of them escaped twice.
Yes, they're they've realized there's a whole world out there
Yeah, well,
on that side.
it's
A
coming to end in a month or so.
whole world.
So that's it for dog updates.
Yeah, we've updated everyone that Brody's teeth are okay, right?
Yes.
That was the last update.
Yeah.
Yep, they're good. I mean, they're old man teeth, but they're fine.
Yep. Time for German word of the week.
Can I have a rambling?
Sure.
Who do you think of the dogs gives the best face licks?
Well, it depends.
Yes, this is the good discussion. What does it depend on?
Zola gives very sweet licks, but she's kind of insistent about it to the point where like your skin can get chafed.
She doesn't stop, and she has a rougher tongue than it feels like.
Yeah.
It's like sneaky roughness.
Definitely not Ella because she bites. Definitely
She
not Feta
cannot. She
because
gets excited and she nips.
yeah.
I've had my lips cut by her. Little
Yes, she
biter.
bites. Feta has a bad habit of eating poop in the yard, so we accept absolutely no face licks from her.
She would lick a lot.
Oh, she would love to, but it's
Yeah.
disgusting. So no.
Yeah. Brody
Guac.
gives the occasional face lick.
Oh, Brody licks
Like,
my face. I think his face licks are nice.
yeah, and
Uh,
he's restrained.
yeah. Remy gives sweet face licks. Guac, when he's like very excited and happy, will give a face lick. He's not like Queso, where it was just like not. She wouldn't do it for me.
Yeah.
But it's rare. It's usually like when you pick me up at the airport, he'll get excited and give me one. He gave me like 2 licks today.
I know. It's a really good, that's what made me think of it. It's a really nice lick from guac because it's so rare.
Yeah, I feel like you got to earn the guaco lick.
Yeah. It's not as elusive as the queso lick, but it's pretty elusive. He is not. My theory. I supply stories with everything
You
based
do.
on no evidence. It's very liberating. I think he was probably yelled at when he licked someone's face before,
Oh,
and
that could
like
be.
wants to, but is nervous about it, and so stops himself because he
Well,
does it, and then he'll look a little sheepish about it, and then he'll stop, even though we're very encouraging.
I think like based on this discussion, I would say Zola because her licks are given with love and without anxiety.
That's true. They're yes, that's right. They're kind of um reliably given too. If you stick your face near her face, she'll kind of lick your
Yeah.
face,
What about
and
you?
she won't bite your face.
No
What
biting from Zola.
what do I think?
Who's your favorite?
I kind of like Remy's.
Yeah.
His are very insistent. Like he's clearly got some kind of mission when he licks your face. It's a little
He's
bit
soothing
much.
himself.
Yes.
This is why I say
Yes.
like Zola licks because she loves me, and Remy licks because he wants to make himself feel better.
Yeah, and it's not terrible. It's a decent way of making himself feel better. It feels better than chewing on the wall, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it is a little heedless of me. I don't think he has a lot of empathy for me.
No, he doesn't care about either of us except that we're taking good care of him, and like that's okay.
Yeah, I mean he clearly likes the pets and the being pterodactyl and everything. I mean he's not without enjoyment.
Oh no, he loves it.
Yeah, yeah, but he's got his own thing.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's okay.
Remoulade. He's the most improved player though, so he's fine.
He definitely is better than before. He had a long way to go though.
Mhm.
So he's still not the best, even though he's the most
He's
improved.
he's come so
He
far.
frustrates me.
He's come so
He
far.
has. He has. Okay, it's time for Taste of the Keys.
Secret taste of the keys. All right, it's not
Um,
secret.
so those of you who are subscribers have been following along with the saga of our neighbor, which I know I also talked about in the last episode. She passed away, and Gwen Filosa and I are working on a podcast about her. And man, like that lady's life was wild. Like, we're finding out a lot of stuff. It's going to be a very interesting podcast. But um, as we have mentioned, she passed away in September and didn't really have any family left or anybody. So her body was not claimed. And today, on December 20th, Key West and other places, but Key West in specific, does an internment ceremony in the Key West cemetery that I think they call like the pauper ceremony or like the homeless ceremony for essentially like people who are homeless or impoverished or kind of don't have any family left. So the Gwen and I both went to the ceremony, which was just like really nice. Like the um, what is the I think it's the FKOC, the Florida Keys Outreach Center, maybe.
Hmm.
Is this like homeless advocacy organization? And they actually own a vault in one of the cemeteries here are above ground, and they own a vault for cremains, and they inter the cremains of all of the people who were homeless or didn't have any next of kin or were impoverished in there. This is the ceremony to do it. And I think they said they bought that vault because there was some guy in Key West whose name I absolutely don't remember, who had been homeless and then kind of like got his feet back under him and worked with the Florida Keys Outreach Center. And when he passed away, left money to them, and they used the money that he left to buy the vault,
That's cool.
which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it was a really nice ceremony, like very a sort of mix between like kind of religious. There were a lot of like reverends and from different churches, people there, and like some advocacy work on sort of like ending homelessness, and just like very humane and like dignified and a really nice thing. And there were 75 people that they had a little like program, and they read their names. Like 4 infants, like 0 years old,
Wow.
which would typically, because I was like, how does that happen? And I guess it's when like they pass away and their families can't afford a burial for them. They'll get buried in this, or
Just like
whatever, interred in this
seems
pauper's grave.
so tragic that the
Yeah,
family can't have this closure, right? Yeah.
yeah. Um, so anyway, it was just a really lovely thing. If you go to Gwen Filosa's page, which you all should be following on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, it's Gwen Filosa Media. She did a live stream from the event and has like links and other info up there. We're going to talk about it in the podcast, but our podcast won't be coming out until January. Like we've got the first one done, and we're like, I think Gwen interviewed a couple people today. Like we're still pulling the rest together. So anyway, if you want to keep up on details in the meantime, go check out Gwen's page and
Yeah.
subscribe. Give her $2 a month for
It's
your
a
keys
nice.
news.
It makes me glad to be in Key West which does live up to its slogan of one humankind, and not ignoring anyone. It's a very inclusive thing to do, to respect those that are unhoused too.
Yep.
I think it's good.
Yeah, no, it was really lovely, and I felt like, obviously we had a very difficult relationship with Michelle across the street. Like she was, had a lot of mental problems, made our life very difficult, spied on us and kind of harassed us and was like hard to deal with. And so I felt kind of weird of like I've been complaining about like how difficult she made our life for like a year and a half. And now like doing this podcast about her and like digging into all these details, I'm like, I'm not I'm not trying to be exploitative, and like that's not the goal, right? It's that like we clearly saw her at the end of her life and she had this like very kind of fabulous life before we knew her, that's worth exploring because like there was this kind of humanity to her that like didn't always come through at the end. But I've still felt kind of weird, right? Like I just dealt with the bad part and now I'm like trying to rediscover the better part, certainly what was for her a better part of her life. But at the thing today, I was like, okay, like I feel like I'm doing like the proper respectful thing here, right? That even though she created a lot of challenges and we like tried to help her, like it felt like a good kind of respectful thing to be there to kind of see that happen. And so there
Yeah,
may
I
be one of
mean,
these around you, but it would have happened because they tend to do them around when they do them around the country. They tend to do them on the solstice because it's the longest night of the year, and so they use that to honor people who don't have a place to go sleep.
I think it's nice. I
Yep.
think it's good that you're telling her story. I mean, I think that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it. I hope what you guys will see, like in the podcast, is that like part of it's a very Florida Keys story, right? That it's like people who come down here and we are a place that like embraces everybody, like you said, including eccentrics. They're like very welcome here and like that's
Especially
great.
eccentrics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it also means that like you can get to a point where like actually you probably need some help and intervention and then people just let you be,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
very, that's right. No one, I mean, because it is the flip side, right? You don't want to tell someone they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You just respect how they're doing it. There's all sorts of eccentrics in town, right? There's the guy who jogs with his big giant oversized American flag every day, and
Yeah.
traffic honks at him and he waves and he's happy. There's a guy who rides his bike almost naked up and
Yep.
down Duval Street.
Yep.
There's just the guys and ladies.
Yeah. And so like she is very much that kind of story. It is a story of kind of like the lack of mental health resources and just like general support because she had money but she couldn't access it. Like there's just a lot of difficulties that she had that like the system should have been able to help with in a way that it kind of couldn't. But there's also this like mystery of like when we were dealing with her, she was kind of not functional, right? She wasn't able to take care of herself. She was paranoid. She was kind of delusional, right? She was detached from reality. And the question is like, how did she get that way? Like, was
Hmm.
she always like that? Was there like some precipitating incident that like made her like that? Because she was functional and taking care of herself and doing interesting stuff for a long time. And so we're talking to people who knew her like literally in the 1970s when she was a professional cheerleader in Chicago and kind of finding out what she was like then and wild stuff that she did back then. And so we don't have all of the answers yet, but we're getting the answers to those questions, right? Like, how did she start off and what was she like kind of in the prime of her life and how much of the difficulties that she caused people at the end of her life, like how much of that was there then versus how much of it is something that came with age or tragedy or poverty or whatever. So it's
Right.
going to be there's a lot of interesting themes that are going to come out of it and um yeah, I don't want to give away stuff that we're going to put in there, but I think she'd be very happy that we're doing this, that she's getting this kind of attention.
I think so too. It is telling her story and giving a forum to her story. I mean, if she were around, she'd definitely want to be interviewed for
Oh
this
my
and
god.
talk about
It'd
and
just be like,
tell her story, right? And then you'd be
yeah,
like kind of confirming it with other interviews and stuff, right?
yeah.
It'd be fun.
All right, so that's more rambling than we needed to do on that. If you are intrigued and you missed it last week, the name of the podcast is Unclaimed, and you can get it on Spotify or any podcast app that you have. Um,
You're
and
so
it's
anti rambling. I'm pro rambling. I think rambling is the spice of life.
well,
I don't know about the spice of life, but it's I like it.
I know you do.
Yep, I like banter. I like rambling.
All right,
You like efficiency.
on to the next section of the podcast. Okay, German word of the week.
Oh, Evolutionsbremse.
Evolution what?
Brakes, like in the car.
Bremse. What does that mean?
It's just a slang term to say, your existence sets back evolution.
No, what does that mean?
You're not a. I mean, under the mistaken theory that evolution is, a progression towards a goal,
Would I
towards a
say
higher
du
goal.
bist ein
Eine Evolutionsbremse.
Yeah.
Das ist eine echte Evolutionsbremse.
Oh, geez. Okay.
You're setting back the species.
I was in Frankfurt for like 20 hours.
Yes.
That's since we recorded the last podcast. I was supposed to be in Europe for a lot longer, and it fell through in dramatic fashion as I was boarding the plane to Frankfurt. And I was like, I either have to get off this plane right now.
It really was that bad of
It
timing.
really
Yeah.
was.
Terrible.
Or I can fly to Frankfurt and see if I can salvage this trip. And I could not. And so I was in Frankfurt for a day, and then I turned around and flew home. It was a very expensive mistake. Well, fall through. I didn't make any mistakes.
I'm
But
not sure you could have left the plane, but it was
I was
probably
on the
that
jet
close.
bridge. I could have turned around.
Oh, I think if you go against the stream on the jet bridge, it's a problem.
Well, I'm concierge key, so I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Okay, salmon. Okay.
Anyway, I had one day in Frankfurt, and so I went to the Weihnachtsmarkt, the Christmas market.
Which is everywhere.
It kind of is everywhere, but I went to like the center of it and some of the satellite parts of it, and it's lovely. And I went, kind of at sunset, and so even though it was cloudy, like the light was nice, and it was like very warm.
So nice.
And I brought my camera. I was like taking pictures of it, and these two guys walked up, and I was on the phone with Ingo.
It was very funny because I'm hearing this conversation. They clearly don't care that she's on the phone.
Not at all. And they're like, "Ooh, what's this?" Like pointing at my camera, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm taking pictures." But this conversation is all in German. They're both extremely drunk. Extremely drunk.
Like happy drunk. They're just like talky drunk. Yeah.
And I was like, my German is not very good, my friends. And
actually, it was quite good.
I got by pretty well. And one of the guys spoke enough English that like he switched for me a couple times, but I held on.
Kind
okay.
of flipped back and forth. He wasn't capable of really the discipline of studying.
No, and there was one word, and he was trying to say that's dangerous. Yeah. But what was I don't know the German word. He didn't
gefährlich.
know.
Ziemlich gefährlich.
Gefährlich. Yeah. And I'm like, Ingo, what's this word mean? And they're like, what is she tying to? And I'm like, my husband's on the phone. And Ingo like translates the word.
I didn't realize that you had earbuds in. I could have like totally been translating into your ear the whole time, like a UN translator.
I've had that before. When I went to Korea, I had a live translator like that.
I could have done live translation. I didn't know it was in your ear.
Well, it's good that I got to practice, and
Oh, so they didn't know you were on the phone. It's not like you were holding the phone up to your ear. You had
I just had the
earphones in.
Yeah, and then goes like, "What's going on?" And I was like, So I finished.
Just want to make sure you weren't being accosted badly, right?
Like, Ingo, they were so drunk, and he thought that was hilarious.
Didn't they say they'd been drinking since one?
Oh, they were like literally drinking. They had their like Glühwein in their little metal mugs.
Glühwein is really strong. Yeah,
reeking of alcohol, like a cloud.
Well, it's a very sweet alcohol.
A cloud.
It does make you smell like alcohol. But they were super happy. They were just like he just wanted to talk to someone.
Yes, they were both very nice and not at all creepy. And so I like finished my conversation with them, and the one guy who spoke a little English like shook my hand and was like, "Good luck."
You kind of shut him down. I mean, he would have talked to you for an hour.
Yeah,
probably.
Oh yeah.
You were just like, "I gotta go," and he's like, "Okay, I gotta go. Bye."
So I shook his hand, and then the other guy uh took my hand, I reached my hand out to him and he took it like he was gonna kiss it, like old school style, kiss me on the back of the hand. He took it that way. That's the
Yeah.
position my hand was in, and I was like, all right, whatever. And instead he raised my hand up and he pushed it against his forehead, kind of bowed down a little bit and pushed it against his forehead, and then let go.
Yeah, I
And
think he had a hot head and he wanted to cool down on your hand or something. I mean, those guys, might not make it home.
well, anyway,
That's really, I mean, these wine fests and Christmas markets are an opportunity for it too. It is real easy to drink a lot if you're there for any
they
length
sure
of
have.
time.
I did not drink any. I don't like that stuff.
It's and yeah, and the thing is that the Glühwein is stronger. I mean, twice or three times as strong as beer. So if you're kind of drinking it at the same pace as beer, you're going to be much more drunker.
I will say I got a press pass. I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, to photograph the national Christmas tree lighting, like at the beginning
Hmm.
of December, and it was so fucking cold, and we had to be there. The Christmas tree lighting was at like 7, but the press had to be there at like 3, so I was just freezing. It was like 30
So you're just sitting
degrees.
there with nothing to do,
50
just
mile an hour
sitting
winds,
there.
nothing to do. I was taking pictures of anything I could, and then there's just like nothing. There's just people waiting for a couple hours. And
Selfie.
as the like pre-show is getting started, this other photographer who's like with the White House Historical
This
Association,
guy's my hero.
I had met him at, you have to show up at the beginning of the day and like set your stuff up. So I was there at like 8:30 in the morning, and I met him then. And then you leave and come back, and he's like, Jen. And I'm like, yeah, who here knows me? Like literally no one.
Right.
Oh, it's that guy from this
Like
morning.
paranoid a little bit.
He's like, I have some hot cider. Do you want some? And I was like normally I would not turn down anything faster than hot cider, but I was shaking. I was so cold. And I was like, I will absolutely drink your hot
Yes,
cider.
can I pour it down the back of my neck?
Someone's like, you should definitely take him up on the hot cider. I'm like, okay. So I like crawl back to his little part of the stand, and he's like, we have
It's like
two
a
kinds.
scaffolding, isn't it? Like a jungle gym kind of setup. It's not. It's
It's
not
like
really human
platforms.
friendly.
Uh,
Platforms, yeah, but
yeah,
it's like not really. It's not like you have chairs or
riser. It's like a riser. Yeah,
Yeah.
um,
It sounds kind of rustic.
yeah. You know, it's not about you. You're just there to take pictures. So I crawl over to his riser, and he's like, "We have two kinds of cider," and I'm like, "I want the one with the alcohol in it, please." And oh my god, it was so good. He's like, "Yeah, I get like this good cider from like some farm,
I
and
think he
then
was from
like
Kentucky, wasn't he? He was from Kentucky or Tennessee.
oh, I don't know. You just made that up. I have no idea where he was from.
It was.
He's from DC now. He's
It
like,
links up.
I simmer it with no, because it had rum in it. I simmer it with like fresh ginger and then with rum in it. Oh my god, it was so good. I found him on Instagram afterwards, and I was like, I just wanted to thank you for that hot cider. Like you really were my hero of the night. And he's like, oh, it was so nice to meet you. I'm glad you liked it.
That guy has been through a lot of cold sitting events where he's just like, I need something sweet and alcoholic to get me through
He
this.
he's
Warm
like,
and
oh, I bring
alcoholic.
it every year, and was like telling me all these stories about it. It was anyway. All right, now I'm rambling. It's time for Ingo
Well,
Corner, where you get to talk about whatever you want. And I won't tell you it's boring, unlike I just did
oh,
with myself.
that's not boring. This is exciting. I bet you if you did a jagged photo podcast, I would listen.
I am so unqualified to do a photography podcast.
No, it would be about your photographic journey.
It would just be me going like, guys, I suck so bad at taking pictures.
No, it'd be like, here's what I did today. I got there at 7, and then I spread my crap out, and then I
I'm
went through
learning.
security, and then they checked to see if I had any alcohol, and then
Oh, but
I
Ingo,
don't know.
I do have like a little win on that front, which I don't
See,
think
this is
I told you about
excellent
today.
material for your podcast.
My photography, least qualified thing I could do a podcast on. So as you all remember, the Northern Lights were like real big in October, and we
Oh
could see them
yeah,
down here. I posted a pic of guac with them, but I took some pictures of them
with palm trees.
with palm trees, and I put them out. I work with a little photo agency, and I put them out on the wire. and they got used all over the place. They were on like CBS Sunday Morning, and like all kinds of newspapers used them because it's like palm trees in the northern lights and you don't see them together. So I have a little Google alert for myself, and now it comes up with like anytime somebody uses one of my pictures. And so there was one today, and Smithsonian Magazine put out like the top 20
So good.
science stories of the year, and one of them was the northern lights, and my picture is the one they used, just mine. Just
So
like,
good.
I
So
know,
good.
pretty exciting.
I know there were people like in Norway or in Boston and in Maine doing these Northern Lights pictures, and they picked yours.
They picked mine. So
So good. See, look how good you are.
I
Smithsonian thinks it's pretty good. They're not your husband. They're objective.
Oh, well, I appreciate your support as I learn and try to get better.
Yes, I may not be rational, but Smithsonian
They're
is.
pretty rational though, that's true.
No,
That's
I don't
not a
care about
bad
you.
picture. Okay,
More
anyway,
fool them.
I am not going to start a photography podcast. Maybe if I'm good at it someday, I will do that, but I am every day I take pictures and I'm like, God, why am I so bad at this?
It's the world's loss.
Well, the last thing we need is more podcasts from me. One, you and I have like 2 podcasts in hiatus. I'm working on another podcast with Gwen Velosa. Jen Coleslaw and I, if we both ever get some time, have a podcast. Like we don't need like an 8th Jen Goldbeck podcast.
Can't believe you said hiatus.
I don't know if you know, but I went to Harvard.
Oh my goodness. You know, I've heard you say it before. You're wearing a t-shirt right now from
I
Harvard.
am. I think my wardrobe is like half Harvard t-shirts.
Half Harvard, half Chicago, and the other half is like something else.
I got some Cambridge ones. A couple of Cambridge
Yeah,
t-shirts.
yeah. You got 3 halves there.
I have a very large collection.
Yeah.
All right,
A
Ingo
lot of-
Corner time.
Christmas cards are coming in and birthday cards for Jen, and it's wonderful to get mail again, and it just confirms it really is therapeutic these days where, you know, reading online stuff sometimes I'm like, well, have the jerks won? Are there are there so many jerks now that
There are.
the world is hopelessly irredeemable? And no, they're just really loud right now, and there's so many nice people out there, and there's so many people still doing really good things, including most of the listeners here. And it's always a nice confirmation, like the whole Voodsmas movement.
Yeah.
And the subgroups that have developed around the cult of Voods and and the other dogs. It's wonderful and affirming and positive, and it really gives me hope, and I hope it gives a lot of people hope.
My birthday has passed, but for those of you who are into card sending, Ingo's birthday is January 6th. It is a day we can redeem from its somewhat recent negative history and return to the hands of goodness and light in making it Ingo's birthday.
I know you're finally 21 and can drink. It's good. I mean, I'm glad you've now passed legality.
You're just making yourself sound creepy.
No, I'm going to be 25.
Oh, okay. Anyway, January 6th is Ingo's birthday, so send him some birthday cards. 1107 Key Plaza, number 202, Key West, Florida 33040.
The 3 kings bring me presents.
That's right.
It's myrrh. It's always going to be myrrh.
Maybe this year I'll get you myrrh.
Myrrh. Why don't you get me some gold? That's what was a good gift. Frankincense? Meh. Myrrh? What? But gold? Yes, please.
Yeah, okay. I'll get you all 3.
Little Jesus was like, gold, bro. You can have this myrrh back, though. Can I trade that for some gold?
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for listening. And we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do next week because your daughter will be here.
Well, I'm not going to bite you unless you ask me to.
Thanks. Slava Ukraini, and don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Slava Ukraine.
And Heroyam Slava.
Ah.
Bye.
Bye.